Hello, it's Dale here. I thought I would show you this hanging I made quite a few years ago. It was part of my City and Guilds. I was doing a study on Hundertwasser, and I can't remember the brief now, but I made it into a hanging. And the reason it's Patricia Bolton saw it and grabbed it to put in one of her magazines. I can't remember if it was Quilting Arts or Cloth, Paper, Scissors. So if you've been reading those for a long time, you may have seen it. And just thought I'd show you how I did this hanging. I made it in a very large piece. If you look at the back, you'll see I've just used a cheap felt. It's a green felt, and I went for all the colours of Hundertwasser and of course his lines and the circles and all that sort of thing. And on my large piece of fabric, which I then cut up, I've put all sorts of things, and you know, you forget after a while, but I can see I used a polyester scarf material over the top, and I stitched all over lots of different patterns, colour. I've used paint and oil sticks and all sorts of things. And when I finished the whole lot, I attacked it with my heat gun, which is, you know, if you look here, you can see the fabric where it's been burnt back a bit, so it's layered, and it's they're really great to burn back into. And then I cut them up into different shapes in squares, but they're not all the same size, and I added different things to them. So there's gimp, which I've been using for a long time. I made machine wrapped cords, which I over wire, which I anchored down. I think there's another one somewhere else, conveniently lost, but there are two. There's another one there, and that's on wire. So I've stitched with like super twist, the lovely industrial metallic thread. I've stitched all over that to make a cord. This one here I let loose so it could sit up and down. It's been around for a while, so it's been tracked in sorts of ways. And I did some stitching on it with, I used the same thread all the time, and I couched it all down. It's gimp and the thread, and I stamped on it and burnt it back. So it's got lots of things like that, and hand stitching with rayon thread. You know, the thing about rayon thread is when you attack it with a heat gun, it doesn't burn, whereas others do. And then I've made cords. So I've used, done machine wrapped cords with metallic threads. This is a thread actually that came from Superior Threads. It's not available anymore. And it was never sold, I think, as a top thread, but I used it as a top thread for a long time. And then I used my flower stick, my caron stick to make lots of different carons. And then I use my flower stitch foot to make big ones, so I've been able to burn them back with the heat gun, and to put the shapes so that they come here. Sometimes I've knotted the cords, and I thread them all the way down through here, so you can see them all on the back as we go, so that the whole thing hangs from its top bits. And then I stitched around every single shape with buttonhole stitch and a really lovely big thick thread that we used to have, and we don't have it anymore. And then I joined them all up together again, so it made one large piece, and it was just to get that angle going. And so, you know, that's what I did with that. It's really satisfying. This is another knitting thread that was a yarn that was around for a while. It was really good for using. You know, when you find things that you like, they disappear, of course. And they don't design these things for us. And then I've joined it all up with the cords, stitching up. I used other thread that I had to make it cords, just different ones to give effect, part shape. So mostly using the circles that I wanted to use in the whole lot that goes up and down. So that's just how I approached that and put all that together. And this is my Hundertwasser, large Hundertwasser hanging piece. And if you've got an old, whichever magazine it was, Cloth, Paper, Scissors, Quilting Arts, you may have come across it, and you may even find that the description I used in there was slightly different from how I can see it now. This little piece here, it looks to me like I painted it and added stitch and colour over the top. So there's machine and hand stitching. When you create a big giant piece like that, I can see pieces that have been anchored and then rubbed with oil pastels and then burnt out. Then you get this lovely way of building up an interesting fabric. So if you've got fabric and you realise this is just cheap green felt, Kunin felt, and you can see how you'll get different effects by just building up layers and layers and then chopping it up and then reapplying it in different ways. So I hope that's given you a few little ideas for this week, and I'll see you again. Oh, just before I go, if you're watching this on Facebook and you're getting a hollow sound, that's got nothing to do with us, we worked out, because it's got to be something to do with Facebook. If you watch it on our website or on YouTube or on Instagram, I find there's no echoey sound that seems to come on Facebook. So this is a very new thing. So what we've done today is move to a different spot, but I'd be interested to see if you make any comments. So anyway, I'll see you again next time. Bye.